Everybody, welcome to Nervous Rex. I'm your host, Simon Rex, and I got Rudy Mancuso here, and you're one of my favorite human beings. Let's start there.
You're one of mine.
And I want to be aware of interrupting you, so please put me in check.
What?
Any time. Let's explain Juji. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, I'll try my best. So correct me where I'm wrong, but if my memory serves me, I'm 27 today, so
Happy birthday.
my memory's getting a little whatever.
Happy Juji.
Whatever, bro. So Juji was this word that I believe you and I came up with during our first trip together to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Correct. During Olympics.
During the Olympics.
Was it World Cup or Olympics? Because it was the favelas were cleaned up. We're gonna tell that story.
It was during some big one of those big events or in between them. I can't quite remember. And
did I come up with it or did you? How did I start calling you Juji?
God.
No, was it you or me who?
Winklevoss twins over here.
Did I?
I think you did.
I think I did.
I think you
and
did.
it was kind of like my version of Rudy was Juji.
Yeah.
And then your aunt, lovely, what's her name?
Her name is Bebel, but we always called her Boba.
I called her Boba.
Yeah.
She was amazing. So let's quickly tell a quick Rio story. So me and Rudy Mancuso went to the top of a favela called Vidijao.
Vidigal, yeah. With a third friend as well, with Rami as well.
Yes, with Rami as well. The three of us got dropped off in a taxi. Well, we didn't mean to get dropped off. We're like, let's go to a bar on the top of the favela. And everyone was going, oh, you're crazy. No one goes up there. But it was cleaned up at the time.
Yeah.
So we go to the top of the favela. We proceed to get drunk and our ride leaves us. So you and I and Rami were stuck at the top of a favela and it got dark. And we're like, oh, shit. And we had to pay somebody to walk us out.
Yeah.
And I videotaped or not videotaped. I recorded it on my phone. So if you go to YouTube and type in, I think it's called like Simon Rex, Rudy Mancuso, Favela Rio. If you type those in, you'll see us escaping the favela by the skin of our teeth.
Yeah.
Right? I remember seeing the cover of Time magazine years ago, and it was a Brazilian person, and they said, this is the future of the race, of the human race, because it was every ethnicity from African to Latin to white. It was like a combination of every race. Brazil has more of a combination than most countries. So it's like the most beautiful, I mean, you'll be going through some alleyway and you'll see a girl that looks like a supermodel staggering out of a building holding a chihuahua in her little biking shorts. You're like, oh my God.
There's gorgeous people.
Good looking people, including yourself. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
27.
that. I'm 27
You have the
today.
body of a 26-year-old.
Thank you.
So what are you doing for your birthday? What are we doing for your birthday?
I don't know. I never, it's kind of a weird thing, your birthday, right? Because you feel this strange kind of pressure. Like, do I talk to people? Do I have to text people back? It's like,
it's the most uncomfortable 30 seconds of the year is when someone sings happy birthday to you. You don't know what to do with yourself. There's no way to like act like.
It's never enjoyable.
It's never enjoyable. And mind you, we are always putting ourselves on camera and being the center of attention. But when it comes to the birthday song, it's always like, what do I do here? Like, it's such a weird moment.
It's like the same feeling when you're receiving a gift that you don't love. Right? When someone hands you a gift
that's a good comparison.
and you're like, I'm not quite sure what's in it,
You're like,
but I
"Thanks."
have to act like I like it if I don't. It's a strange pressure and
Yeah, I never
kind
thought
of-
about that.
It's a vulnerable moment.
So, okay, let's talk about your background real quick. You were born in Rio? Were you born in you were born in
No, I was born in the U.S. I was born in a small town in northern New Jersey, Glen Ridge, New Jersey. That's where I grew up. But I kind of split my time between Rio, Naples, Italy, and because that's my father's side of the family's from, and Jersey. So I didn't quite know what I was when I was growing up. I was like, am I Brazilian?
You're
Am I
Jersey.
Italian? I'm a Jersey.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because you're one of the few people that, okay, first of all, let's talk about how I met you. I saw you on Vine. This is back in the day when Vine was the thing. And I remember seeing a Vine that you did that just made me crack up. I'm like, I love this guy. I got to meet this guy. And did I DM? Was there DM on Vine? How did I hit you up?
I truly don't remember.
I don't either. But I remember seeing you. I'm like, this kid's got zesto. This kid's going to be a star. And the Jewish business brain in my, like, I'm not a business person at all. I'm a horrible business person, but I always have a knack for spotting talent. Like I found Riff Raff. I found Mickey Avalon. I always see people and I'm like, that motherfucker's got it. And when I saw you, I'm like, this kid's got it. And
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, God, you must have been 19 years old. This was, how long ago was Vine?
God,
it seems like a lifetime ago.
Man, it really does. It seems like yesterday, but also a lifetime ago.
Right.
I remember being such a fan of yours, pre-Vine, and then I saw that you were making Vines, and it was interesting because this was like this new world of social media that no one really known about. It was 6-second videos that were going viral overnight. And I remember the little tight Vine community at the time was like, oh, this is Simon Rex is on. It's like the first like traditional actor celebrity who joined.
Yeah, me and Joshua Peck were the two that everyone's like,
Josh
oh, welcome.
Peck,
Yeah, and we had no.
D'Elia, and then
Yeah,
and I remember
exactly.
Kevin Hart came, and then the list went on.
Yeah, D'Elia was smart to do that too, because I feel like some people, like I'm friends with Nick Swartzen, the comedian, and I remember saying, you got to
Him
get
as
on
well.
this shit. Yeah, no, he wouldn't. He did a couple on my page.
Oh, that's
but
right.
I remember trying to convince him to start doing Vines. He's like, bro, I'm not going to give away the gold. I get paid for that. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I disagree. I think it's a great platform to put shit out. Mind
And
you,
you
he
were right.
doesn't need to. He's doing Adam Sandler movies and makes a ton of money. For me, it was almost like creatively, it was the funnest toy ever made. When Vine was really popping, that was the funnest toy I've ever had in my life. I felt like a little kid. My whole life revolved around creating Vines, and Twin Steven, my character that you loved, and I would create all these different characters, and you could just post it and see what people like. Immediately see a response within an hour of what works or what doesn't work. And it was such a great way to just create and feel the creative process. It was such a quick turnaround. Like now you're experiencing the Hollywood machine where it's like you're pitching shows. You're seeing how much of a motherfucker it is to not only sell a show, but to produce it, make it, execute.
Takes lifetime.
It takes months. And you're used to that
it could
quick
take
fix.
months, sometimes years, and still not get made.
That's what I'm saying. You're dependent on the Hollywood machine and other people when we got to just play and create and make people laugh. At the end of the day, I just want to make people laugh. I don't care.
So it is interesting because you had the backwards experience that I'm currently having.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's reversed.
Like you did film and television and MTV, VJ stuff.
Right.
And the world changed. The internet became what it was, and social media had its uprising. And then you joined that world,
Right.
and you figured out how to make it work. A lot of people don't have trouble doing that, transitioning the other way. And I did quite the opposite. I started in the professionally on the internet, and now transitioning into longer form. It's like a weird kind of transition.
You got to reinvent yourself all the time. And you actually are one of, I was about to, I don't know how to say this because it's not offensive, but you do so many things. It's like, just pick one. You're so fucking talented. You do music, you do comedy, you do drama, you do directing. It's almost like, dude, what the fuck? Are you going to join the WNBA next?
Yes.
I'm tired of this guy having so much talent. And it's like, it's not fair. It's almost not fair. Because I know it's the compliments, but it's almost not fair because you literally have more talent in your little pinky than
like
most people have.
This is like just being
birthday
sang
thing.
happy
Yeah,
birthday. Add that to the list. Hold on. Getting presents, being sung happy birthday to, and getting a ton of compliments.
You know-
a lot of people wouldn't agree with the compliments, but I know you're like me.
Well, you know what my dad taught me? He said, just say thank you. And that's it. It ends it. So say thank you real quick.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
You know what my dad taught me?
What?
Nothing.
Yeah, he's a horrible dad.
No, he's great. I love
I
your dad.
love, and I'm joking. You have been one of the few people also that I think shared your family on your social media, which most people don't do that. And everyone knows your mom, everyone knows your dad, and your mom's so funny. Like I don't even know if she's in on the joke or trying to be funny, but you capture these moments with your mom that are so real.
Special. She's
She's
special.
really special. So I've never met her, but we FaceTime so many times. I feel like I met her.
Yeah, you met my aunt, which is an extension,
aunt.
somewhat of an extension of my mom.
Right.
But I think that a lot of people say that's where I get the kind of like the comedic character
Right.
side
Right.
of the stuff that I do.
Right.
It's from my mom.
Yeah.
And then maybe some of the more like elongated ideas, the more inspirational ideas, the more dramatic pieces maybe come more from my dad's side. I don't know. It's a weird mesh.
Yeah,
Weird mesh. That's what this is. Italy and Brazil. I mean,
Yeah.
two very
Passionate.
passionate cultures combined. You get a juge.
You get a juji. But no, it's really cool because a lot of people just you opened up the door to your kitchen and your living room, and I felt like I knew before I even met you. I felt like I knew you because I'm hanging out with you and your mom and your dad.
That's what social media does,
It
right?
really did. Well, but that's my point. Is a lot of people don't do that. I never really shared I always just performed. I never really showed candid moments. So that was, I think, it was
True.
smart of you because it just got people to feel like they know you.
Yeah.
And
but if you notice, I was very rarely me, right? It was always some kind of character.
Totally.
Even when you're Simon
Right.
Rex, you're not quite Simon
Right.
Rex,
I'm
right?
always performing.
Always performing. But
Yeah.
at a certain point, you're like, you find a channel or an outlet like
Right.
this to actually be yourself and converse, have
Right.
conversations.
Yeah, that's why this podcast is interesting because it's like a long form, an hour or so, could be more, could be less, but you really get to open it up. And I feel like obviously podcasts are everywhere now. It's not news to anyone, but the conversations can get a lot deeper than a 5-minute interview on the Tonight Show. People
Totally.
are like, that shit's done. I think people are just savvy now to these long form conversations. And
I don't know. Who knows?
man?
Everything's done and everything's starting. It's just a weird time for
is a weird-
entertainment.
It's a great time too because
It's
everything's
incredible.
wide open.
Now,
Now,
wide open and very closed at the same time.
Let's talk about our trip. You were very generous. Rudy brought me to the World Cup this year to Russia.
Yeah.
And you brought me out business class. Next time I want first class, brought me business class.
By the way, is there a difference?
It's pretty much the same thing.
It's pretty much. I think it depends on the plane, right?
As long as you get horizontal and you got a bed, you're chilling.
But so I think it depends on the plane. What I've learned.
Yeah. Well, we flew on. What airline was it? It was a good one. It was Lufthansa, which is a good airline. And you sat in first class with Hannah. Remember, you guys were up. So you guys were very elitist. You wouldn't go business, and I sat in business class, or laid in business class, and we go to the World Cup.
Who else was with you?
It was me, you, and oh my God, how am I forgetting his name right now?
Anwar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Anwar went. Hannah went. It was us. Sammy went.
Exactly, and Sammy.
We were all on the same flight though.
We were on the same flight. No, Sammy met us there. So it was me, you, Anwar, and Hannah.
Should we just talk about flight logistics for the rest of this podcast?
No. So we get there, and we go to Russia, and it was our first time there each. And I was wanting to go to Russia because I'm a Russian Jew, Lithuanian, but at the time before the Soviet Union fell in 1992 or 3, Lithuania was Russia. So I'm basically
making this
Russian.
up?
No, this is true. Well, you love when I make stuff up.
Love it. Really quickly, can you just show off your talent on fake history? I want 30 seconds of fake history of Russia.
In 1927, the former Soviet Empire was ruled by Joseph Stalin, Stalin's cousin, who was an Orthodox Jew, who actually ran the Confederate flag throughout northern Russia, and they established what is called a monarchy. And within the monarchy, there was a filibuster within the political infrastructure that manifested a doctrine which was called the Reuniti Treaty.
Oh, that's how that happened.
Right.
Oh, got it. Thank you.
So
Simon, that was really good.
Okay, thank you.
So Simon
they're sleeping over there.
Simon would do this when we were in Russia. We'd go to all these like very historical monuments and statues, and Simon would give us the fake history. And we started noticing a couple of times that people would start gathering around and listening to Simon as if it was real. Funny.
It sounds like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm just using words.
Filibuster?
Well, that's a real word.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's something to do with the political infrastructure of the regalia. No, it's I think that's something to do with the voting ballot. Do you guys know what oh no, they're not. They're sleeping. Whatever. We'll look it up later. We were walking around Russia. We were checking out the history. We go through Russia. Here's what my point about Russia. It was an amazing place to see. Nobody laughed at our jokes.
Well, no one thought we were funny.
Everywhere I go in the world, I could get a cab driver to smile. In Indonesia, in Italy, in Spain. We're going to get to Spain in a minute, Juge. Russia, nope, nobody was laughing.
Yeah,
and
we were only in Moscow during that trip, right?
True.
And I don't know if we could speak for the rest of the country, but Moscow specifically, we didn't get a lot of laugh. But beautiful people.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Like
women.
Wonderful people and wonderful food, and it was. I'll tell you what, one of the cleanest cities I've ever been in.
Yeah. So we go to Russia. We went to the World Cup, which was rad. I'm not a big soccer/football fan, but that was a trip to go to the World Cup. I mean, that was
so many people.
The game wasn't the best, but it was cool to see what the fuck the whole world's into. Like,
yeah.
I'm not. You're a soccer fan.
It's the most popular sport in the world.
Are you a AC Milan fan? Are you a Brazil fan? Who's your soccer team?
It depends who I'm with.
It depends who's winning.
Yeah. If I'm with my dad, I'm most likely rooting for Naples. That's his team. That's where he's
Naples.
from.
Okay.
And if I'm with my mom, she really only cares about like the Brazilian club teams or Brazil national team.
Right.
She doesn't really have like a European team.
Right.
So
Brazil's so good. You always have like Brazil's always in the mix for the World Cup. I forget even who was it that played in the World Cup this year? I don't even know. It was whatever.
What do you mean who played?
Who were the two teams? Who was the two teams?
The two on the finalists?
Yeah, that we went to the game.
Well,
see, very forgettable. The game wasn't that good, but it was still cool to go check it out.
Bro, I think both our memories are very inconsistent.
You have no excuse. I smoked weed my whole life. You didn't, so I have an excuse. And then we went to Spain, which is where we really thrived. So Juji flew me to Spain after we went to Russia. You flew me to Spain. We went to Ibiza. I don't say Ibiza because that's obnoxious, and that's like saying Los Angeles or Iraq. You just say Ibiza. You know when people are like Ibiza? I find that annoying.
Yeah.
So we went to Ibiza, and it was your first time there?
It was my first time.
Oh, dude. And then you had to leave early, and I was so bummed.
I had to leave early, but at least we got some crossover with Alesso.
Very relaxed culture. I just noticed the Spanish are very chill compared to Americans. Like not a lot of selfie taking, not a lot of fratty mentality.
They live a little more.
They live a lot more.
Like even the waiters and waitresses and busboys at the hotel that we were staying were happy to be there. I mean, it helps that you're by the beach and the weather's beautiful, but
that place was pretty magical.
Yeah, there was some magic there.
And then you had to leave early. You didn't get to do the yacht trip with us to go have lunch on that little island, did you? You left by then because we all went out on the yacht.
No, I left. I left before you guys did all that.
Dude, I felt like Like, this is how people live. Like, motherfuckers got boats that they take out to like go have lunch.
It was like the second I left, you guys decided to have the most fun.
That's exactly right.
But at least we got to have that fresh fish on the water.
Dude.
We did that once or twice. Hiked down this little mountain from the hotel. Freshest fish from the water. They just fished it, ate it, some salad, potatoes. We're living.
Fish Shack, I think it was called. The Shack, something like that. Place was amazing.
Yeah, very, very European name.
Dude, yeah.
We had a great time though.
So yeah,
we just lived. That's what we did.
Dude.
It was quality of life. It wasn't going out and it wasn't clubbing every night. Actually, that's when I think you and I connected the most. It was like, I don't want to go to the club. I want to go to bed.
That's right. And we would go because Alesso was DJing, so we would go support and hang out. But it would be it was like so next level. Like the club scene in Ibiza is so next level.
I'm sure it's an incredible time.
No, it is.
But we got. Yeah.
I want to talk.
It's my podcast.
Well, yeah. No, I mean in general, like in the club, I can't communicate with people in a loud club because I'm yelling and I'm trying to deliver a joke over the music, and I feel like an old man because I'm yelling over a song that I have no idea what the song is, and I'm trying to tell a joke and I'm like repeating it, and then it's just not funny anymore. It's like, or like I'm 44 and a half years old. And if somebody, well, that's my joke because 10-year-olds say 10 and a half when you're 44, who would say that? Yeah. If somebody's like, how old are you? And you're in the club, you're like, I'm 44. Like, dude, stop the music, get them out of here.
Yeah.
There's a rule I heard on the radio. After 37, you're not allowed to go to a nightclub. So don't bring me to a fucking nightclub tonight.
After 37.
Are we going to a nightclub tonight?
That's exactly what we're doing.
Fuck.
Actually, I'm not quite sure what we're doing. I know we're going to have dinner all
I'm going
together.
to come eat with you.
My beautiful dinner. No, you're going to come out. Whatever we're doing.
I'll come out.
I'm not sure. I don't think we're going to go to a big club. We don't really do that much anymore.
Okay, good.
But whatever it is, it'll be cool and humble, and it'll be a really big club.
You're wise beyond your years. So let's talk about some stuff that you're working on. You got, are you doing any music stuff right now? You came and helped me with my latest project I'm working on. You came and laid some keys. Yep, you laid some keys down. What are you working on music-wise?
Right now, actually, an instrumental, a full instrumental EP.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so about like 6 to 8 tracks, something like that.
Right.
All instrumental. A lot of piano, bass, almost film score type instrumental music. So that's something that excited me very much. And because this year, a big part of this year is getting into scoring and soundtracks for film, television, and content.
And what else? What else are you working on? You're always shooting YouTube videos. Every time I see you post something, it's like, it just gets to #1 like that day.
Yeah, I mean, that's our machine, right? That's like the shots kind of machine is, no matter what you're doing, no matter what movie you book or what song goes to top 10, you got to keep making content because that's what makes the machine always flow.
And it's interesting because it's like we were talking about earlier, like, okay, let's say you create a TV show, like and put it on the air. It's almost like TV's slowly dying, and obviously like streaming's getting so much bigger that you'll get more views on a YouTube video that you put up on your page than, like, if you think about it, like the millions of views you get, like a decent hit TV show gets a few million views. It's almost like, well, at the end of the day, you're getting the eyeballs on you. You're getting the advertising money. Well, did you just want to do television and film just because it's long form and it's different? I mean, just to do it?
I think it's just because it's a completely different audience. It kind of elevates you as an artist, right? There's definitely a stigma associated with being a YouTuber,
right?
But I don't think any of us consider ourselves YouTubers. We consider ourselves creators who create on YouTube and on Instagram and on TV and film.
I feel like when I saw you first, I said there's a handful of people that I think will get off Vine Island, I called it, because Vine is 6 seconds long, and that's obviously cute to do a little loopy video. But then when it comes to like long form comedy, even doing a YouTube 5, 6, 7, 8 minute video, that's a different animal. And I remember thinking you, Batch, Hannah, there was Lele. There was a handful of people. I'm like, oh, they're bigger than Vine. And there were some people, not in a bad way, that I'm like, oh, they'll just kind of stay being funny on Vine. But I don't think they can make that leap to doing like TV, film, even
that
YouTube.
Transition isn't easy. You have to have a good team, and you have to have the ideas, and you have to have, I think, the creative ability at the end of the day.
Right.
It's hard, man. You know more than most how hard it is. It's hard when you do have a following, let alone when you don't.
Right. And the Shots crew, who came up with who is that? Johnny and Sammy, your management? Is that their idea? Did they come up with the name? How did that happen? How did Shots, how was it born?
The Shahidi brothers, John and Sam, they can go into how the Shots kind of, I call it empire, began better than I can, but they are my partners and managers. They founded Shots together. They represent
who's on
an
the
array
roster?
of talent.
Who's like the roster?
Anita, who's probably the biggest pop star in Brazil.
Right. No, she's Brazilian.
Correct.
She's Portuguese, sorry. She's
Brazilian.
Portuguese. She speaks
Brazilian.
Portuguese.
She speaks
She's
Portuguese.
Oh, wow.
They speak Portuguese in Brazil and Portugal and some other places.
She's so beautiful.
She's great.
Yeah.
Are you trying to
No,
get set up with Anita?
Yeah.
Can I? That's out of my control.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But Anita, if you're listening, this is Simon Rex,
Hi,
and
Anita.
and he's a mess.
Yeah.
So Anita, Lily Pons,
Who's
Hannah.
killing it, made a music career. Did you
Killing
see
it.
that coming? You directed her last video, right?
Yes.
The one take,
Blockeo.
awesome video.
Blockeo, yeah, thank you.
One take. That's pretty ambitious, dude.
Yeah.
You love the one take stuff.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know why? Because it's hard.
It's hard.
And you actually showed me that scene recently from Patriot. Shout out to Patriot.
You got to watch that show.
Yeah,
I swear I watched that show. I'm like, this is where you're gonna go, Rudy. I think I'm a little bit psychic and I foresee a lot of things. And I see you having like your own TV show that's that smart and intelligent mixed with music. That's, you could have a series for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 years. That's you being the lead actor, dramatic, comedy, music, showing you even directing it, writing it.
Yeah.
Dude, not a lot of people could do that.
It's ambitious. It's hard. But
I know,
I'm working
but
on it.
you're a driven dude. I wish I had your hustle. Like, I feel like...
I wish I had your height.
Yeah, well,
Straight.
if I had your hustle, I would be a millionaire, but also I think I might be dead because I'd be rich and famous and I'd be on a boat on some crazy island with a bunch of beautiful women and I'd like be into some weird shit.
And we talked about this recently.
Yeah, we did?
Yeah.
My memory's
quality of life, like finding the balance between having that quality of life geographically and really diving into the hustle.
Yep.
I live in Studio City.
Right.
I wake up, there's hustle all around me. You wake up, where are you now?
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, on the beach. I went to Simon's house the other day. Step downstairs, I'm on the beach.
Yeah.
And all I smell is health.
And my BO. I know, dude, that's the thing. It's like, I'm torn because it's like, I remember you let me stay at your crib a few months ago. I came and stayed with you. And within that 4 days, I got more work done because I'm just around the hustle. But my quality of life at the beach is so excellent that I'm just happy out there that I'm like, okay, what's more important to me? Like work or my happiness? Or because I lived in that matrix where you lived for 17 years and I just hit a wall and I'm like, get me the fuck out of here, dude. And I'm just happy at the beach. I've never worked less and never been happier. So go figure.
So it's,
You got a few years to put in.
I think the answer that we came up with was finding the balance between the two, right? You got to hustle.
Right.
And you also have to enjoy life and be healthy. I came to visit you. What did we do? We worked
went right
out.
to the gym.
We ate healthy.
Yep.
And we walked on the beach. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Exactly. But you're just one of those guys. I remember we were in Brazil drinking one night and we went out and we were like staggering to a McDonald's at like 4 a.m. and you ordered apples at McDonald's and then went for a run. I'm like, this dude is fucking driven. Like I would never be that guy. I was eating a Big Mac and passed out like a slob. You ordered sliced apples and went for a run at 4 a.m.
But think this is the best way I explain it to
You're
people because
insane.
when I say I'm going to go for a run at 4 a.m., people are like, oh, you're crazy. And I can't relate to that. But you can relate to that because everyone has their own therapeutic thing, right? For some people, it's scrolling through Instagram. That's therapeutic for some people. It might be counterproductive, but that's their way of being like, I'm shutting down. I'm going to scroll.
Right.
Other people like to exercise. Other people like to watch TV. Everyone has their own like kind of me time thing. That's their own version of therapy. And for me, when I go for a run and I'm sweating and I'm listening to music, by the way, without music, very hard for me to run.
What do you run to?
Depends. More often than anything else, film scores.
Really?
Yeah, particularly
you feel
by
like a movie star.
Yeah, by Hans Zimmer, John Williams, Henry Gregson Williams. I listen to film scores, and it's like a soundtrack to my run.
That's a smart way to look at it. Yeah, I find if I listen to like 80s heavy metal, like Metallica, I get really pumped up.
Really?
Or I listen to some like EDM music, something that's like really four on the floor that kind of moves me. I'm not going to listen to jazz. I'm not going to listen to Dirt Nasty.
Start waltzing through the streets.
Right.
You should try. You know what you should try doing?
What?
You might surprise yourself.
The Rocky soundtrack?
Put on a classical track.
Really?
Put on one of these concerto tracks. Put on a Bach playlist and listen to classical piano as you run. See what it inspires.
Okay, that's interesting.
He never runs again.
Yeah.
So anyway, the roster. We got Lele.
Yeah.
Then we have Anwar.
Right. I love Anwar.
He's the most lovable guy now.
Okay, I love him more than you, but go on.
And then Hannah, who you know very
Hannah's great. I love Hannah. She's great. You guys got a good crew, man. You guys are Alessa's the best. You guys honestly have a very successful crew, and I've been around the block. I've seen a lot of people get famous, and it fucked them up. You guys have all managed to stay pretty damn grounded in your extreme success. What do you guys attribute to that? Is that just good parents? I mean, what the fuck? Is that just you keep that crew tight because if anyone gets an inflated ego, then like it's not part of the team? Because you guys all seem so chill. Like you would never guess if I hung out with you, Hannah, Anwar, Lele, I would never be like, oh, they have a diva attitude. They act like, I know a lot of Hollywood people that act a certain way that's it's a very entitled, turn off, elitist way of behavior that's abrasive.
The common denominator I think between all of us is that come from good families. We're very diverse. Everyone's parents are some kind of immigrant. And I think that has an effect on our outlook on our, as a whole. I mean, most of us are first-gen Americans, but our parents aren't. And culturally, I think that automatically opens our minds and eyes to exposes us to more things earlier on. We kind of have to digest so many different cultures earlier on. I had to learn how to be Brazilian, Italian, and American, and speak all three languages and understand all three cultures. It's a different kind of struggle, and I think it shaped us differently, and I think it humbled us a bit.
Right.
In my opinion, that's what we all share, is that cultural diverse experience where we all still feel like that little kid trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Never thought about that. That's the common thread. One of them. I mean, but you can.
And John and Sam, they know how to keep a family a family.
It does feel like a family too. Like I feel like an extended family member because you guys will invite me to dinners and I get to come hang out. You're like the weird
uncle.
I'm like the creepy uncle, but it's cool because when I come hang out with you guys, like you guys just gotta. It's just interesting because it's like you guys are the next generation. You guys are doing it without the Hollywood machine. And now you guys obviously are going to be working with the Hollywood machine, but I come from the old school where there was just a few casting directors that would handpick you and you just had like a couple networks and there was only a few options that you had. So I remember coming out here in 1998 and there was the WB network at the time and they would you'd go in for an audition to the WB or NBC or CBS and there was just a few places to go work and they would have one casting director. So you had like 7 places to go for a TV show. That's it, if that. And then there was one casting director or one VP of the network that would be like, he's got something, hire you. You guys did it without any of that machine and got millions of people watching. It's pretty cool to watch. It's like rebelling against the system. And then now you guys will incorporate the Hollywood machine and take it to another level. Yeah. It's like the new school. It's interesting. It's never been done before. This has never been done before.
It's risky. We're learning something new every day. The internet changes every single day.
Right.
Algorithmically, it's all over the place. You can't quite anticipate what's going to happen. Tomorrow, the algorithm might be different than yesterday. And you kind of have to roll the punches and learn it. So we're remember the Vine days?
Oh yeah.
Every couple months, there'd be a new update or something and we had to figure out how to navigate it. It's essentially what the internet is.
Yeah, and when it changes, sometimes it throws you off. Like, didn't Vine go to 1 minute at one point or something? It went from 7 seconds to I remember Marcus Johns uploaded like a pre-shot thing. And it was like a big controversy because he's like, oh, he cheated.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I don't know if it was that
something changed.
They introduced that you could pre-edit your content.
Yeah, that kind of changed everything because it was kind of cheating. No offense, I love Marcus Johns. It's all good.
Some people argue introduced a whole level of talent. Other people argue that it killed it. So that's the internet for you.
Right.
It's always changing and people are always going to be pissed off and some people are going to embrace it. And you just got to have to go with it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. It's like, you are putting yourself out there for everyone to give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Have you ever gone on YouTube and given anyone a thumbs down? Because I never have. I've never gone. No. You know what I mean? That takes a certain type of person.
Even if I feel that they deserve a thumbs down,
right?
What do I or they get out of that negative feedback?
It's interesting. I remember when I'd look at, I try to not look at the comments because you can't help but notice you could have 100 comments like LOL, love you.
That one negative
and you
comment.
Just see one thing, you suck, you ain't funny anymore, and it hurts.
It really does.
And you're like, wait, you didn't notice any of the love that you got, or you noticed it, but you didn't take that in. But that one negative comment just sticks like a dagger. And I don't like it.
Internet's tricky. The world is tricky.
Yeah.
It's not far from real life, right? But the difference that we don't know, most of the time, we don't know who these people are saying these things.
That's exactly
it. Could be a 13-year-old kid. It could be a 45-year-old dude. Who knows?
It could be a 172-year-old ninja from Kentucky.
As Kentucky has a lot of.
Right, exactly. It's an interesting thing. So I try to not look at the comments, but sometimes when I'm bored, I'm just like, let's see if this joke worked. And then you only notice that one. It's the same thing when I go do a Dirt Nasty show. I could have 478 people screaming, I love it. And there's one dude flipping you off and you're like, oh.
It hurts.
It's all you notice.
Well, we notice.
We're human beings.
I think our attention always immediately goes to the negative.
Are you a human being?
No.
Because you seem alien-like with you just something else. You seem more than human. You seem more than a human being.
Why is that?
I don't know. You have like a certain, it's almost like the video you directed with Alesso. You're that little green alien, right? Do you see that? I guess you can't see that about yourself, but I see you being like a glowing alien from another Brazilian planet.
Like Brazil?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
You're just doing you.
These ideas come from somewhere, right? Even if I don't know what that place is or.
Do you, okay, for here, something I go through lately is inspiration. You can't force inspiration. It's weird where ideas just pop in from, like, you could just be sitting there and all of a sudden it just channels through you like inspiration and ideas. And sometimes I'll sit there for 2 weeks at a time. I'm like, I ain't feeling it and I don't want to force it.
And sometimes you feel it all at once.
But we were talking about this the other day. You're able to, even at a time when you make it your job to be inspired and create content. I'm not good at that. What do you do? Do you force yourself to get in a creative zone? I mean, how do you do that?
I mean, like any artist would say, I think there are times when we feel more inspired than other times.
Right.
Sometimes you have this weird mental block, writer's block, director's block, idea making block. And sometimes I have to watch something or dive into work of others or go for a run or just look at people or spend some time with my family. Some of my best ideas have come from spending time with my actual family because they are like when you enter my house and meet my parents or see some of my extended family. As is my aunt in Brazil not a character?
Oh man,
that's not a real person.
Dude, remember we were dancing in her living room? Like I filmed that, and that was
you still have that?
Yeah, I still have that. That was one of the most magical moments. It's just those little things. Like we were just dancing in her. She lives in Copacabana. Is that where she lives?
That's where her whole life.
That little apartment on the second floor, right there, and we're up there, and out of nowhere, we just all start dancing.
Yeah. We had just landed.
Dude, my family doesn't do that.
Out of nowhere, we just started singing and dancing. And you know what the crazy part about that was? We all knew the lyrics to this song.
What song was it?
It was like you did. You just joined in and you knew it. It was some Brazil. It was like da na. It was something weird like that, and we all just started joining in and dancing and singing. And I was like, so this is what natural high is.
Oh my God, that was magical. Like those moments are so rare for me. I come from a very like non-Latin, passionate family, just very, I want my family to start dancing like that. Maybe I need to initiate it and just start dancing around it and spark it up a little bit,
No one dances and
no one dances
you
and they're like, you're out of your mind. Dude, but seriously, that's beautiful, Juji.
My point is, life will inspire you more than you know. Have you ever experienced something and been like, man, even if that were in a movie, you wouldn't believe it.
Right. Absolutely. Well, real life is always stranger and more interesting than any movie. Like it's always like the things that happen in life. Like you can't write this shit,
When you and I were shooting stuff together and coming up with stuff, we would do something and the smallest thing would be like, oh my God, that would make a great sketch. That would make a great idea. That would make a great show.
You and I are pretty good at that. Every time we hang out, like it's like, oh, we should do, like I feel like you spark that interest in me, like just by hanging out with you, we'll like come up with something or just be talking. So sometimes I think just hanging out with other like-minded creative people can give you that spark that you need. I live alone and I spend now that I live on the West Side, I really don't have too many friends out there. So I'm spending a lot of time alone, which is fine. I'm an only child. But
Simon starts crying.
But I think that's what it is for me. It's like, it's harder to find that inspiration when I'm just chilling by myself. But when I'm around it, like I said, when I stayed with you for a few days, shit was popping. I'm shooting videos with Hannah. I'm shooting videos with you. We're writing. Dude, it's just like, I need to be around that more. So I gotta make it a point to come be around you guys more.
It's been said by smarter people than me. And this is sometimes people disagree with this, somewhat of a controversial statement, but they say surround yourself with people who are better than you. Better. What does that mean? Better with you, smarter than you. If you want to be a comedian, surround yourself with people who are funnier than you. If you want to be a writer, surround yourself with successful writers. I mean, otherwise, what's the point? You need to live and learn. And it's all about who you're around and who you're kind of growing with. If you don't have people to grow with or a good family to help mold you, and you're wasting time, I think.
I agree with you 1,000%. When I go play basketball, if I play with people who aren't better than me, I play horrible. If I play with guys who are really good, my game goes up a notch and I start playing way better. Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
I was listening to Ari Shafir, who's a big comedians podcast, and he had this MMA guy, Mickey Gall, on today, and they were talking about the same thing. He's like, this fighter's like, I live in New Jersey. He's a Jersey boy. He's like, I need to come to LA to train because the caliber of fighters out there are so good that I get better every time I train. If I just stayed back home, I can't do it. It's the same thing. You just got to, no matter what you do, it's not just creative.
And some people are just, different DNA. They don't believe in having that kind of somewhat competitive relationship, because it is a competitive relationship. Even though I love you and we are brothers.
Right.
When you have a great idea, I can't help but think, why didn't I think of that? And how can I make it better? You know what I
mean? But that's okay. That's just using it as an edge. That's not. There's
such thing as healthy competition.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's not always a war.
You're all growing together.
Yeah.
Remember, I came up with Captain South America, and you were like, you love that idea. Like, how did I not think of that? And I was being the usual lazy self that I am, and I never shot it for like weeks and weeks. Finally, you just went and shot it. I'm like, but that made sense because I couldn't be Captain South America. You're Juji. You could do the whole Latin thing more. So you did Captain South America. Remember that? Yeah. And you were like, I remember when I told you that, you just looked at me like, like, how the fuck did I not think of that? You're like, you son of a bitch, that's so good. And you kept hitting me up. You're like, dude, have you shot that yet? I'm like, no. And then you nailed it. So, but that's what I'm talking about.
But I text you about it when I did it.
No, I'm not mad. I think, but I'm glad you did it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's the point, is that you surround yourself with those people and it raises the bar each time.
Totally.
Where does it end? I mean, I don't think it ever ends. That's the thing. It's not like at any point you could ever be like, okay, I learned comedy, I'm done. No, you always are learning, always growing, always changing.
It doesn't end.
It doesn't
and
end.
We're never happy, so you might as well just keep going.
Okay, so I may be saying this wrong. I think the word samsara, that's like, I was just in Indonesia and Bali, and it's like a Sanskrit word that means like the cycle of life where nobody's ever content and it never ends. And I feel like in Hollywood, that's so true. Like, for instance, it's all relative. Like, I could drive down Sunset Boulevard from here and I'll see my peers on a billboard, and I can't help but think, God, man, why am I not there?
Yeah.
And trust me, my friend on that billboard's calling his agent going, why am I not where Brad Pitt's? No one's, it never ends. And then it's all relative. Like, some of my friends are like, why am I not where Simon's? Like,
but that's what I'm talking about. Healthy competition. You see your friend on the billboard and it's a weird balance. You're so happy for him, but then you also start questioning your own career.
Right. And start blaming your agent.
Yeah.
That's the other thing,
it's always
man.
the agent's fault, right?
I know, right?
I'm just kidding. WME, thanks for everything.
I'm just kidding. But that's true, man. It's like nobody, I forget who said it. There's a famous saying, this famous actress back in the day said, if you want to be happy, don't get into show business. Because nobody's ever truly happy.
Can you repeat that?
If you want to be happy, don't get into show business. I can't remember who said it. It was like some
could use this advice 10 years ago.
Yeah, right. It's working for you. You should be happy. But
I'm miserable.
It's interesting, man, because it's a weird thing. Like, people always say to me, like, hey, I want to come to LA and make it. And I'm like, can I be honest with you? I wouldn't recommend this to my worst enemy. Like,
can I be honest with you? Don't.
Dude, and I feel bad because I don't want to be a dream crusher. But at the same time, I'm like, look, I've been very fortunate. Like, I never even wanted this. Everything just kind of fell into my lap, from working at MTV to being an actor to everything that's happened to me has just been like, here, you want to do this? Okay. But I was never like, I want to go be an actor and be famous. I never pursued it. It just presented itself, so I did it. It's almost like the less you want it, the more it comes to you.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's a weird thing.
It's weird.
But then you want it too.
The universe is strange.
It is a strange place.
We're always going to want, and we're always going to be disappointed, and we're always going to find moments of happiness. I don't think there's such thing as utter happiness. They're giving us the you guys got to wrap it up.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I was just thinking. Can I think?
No. So utter happiness. Like, everyone wants. It's a race to be happy, whether that means being very rich, whether that means finding the perfect spouse or partner, whether that means living in the perfect place. I think we got to eliminate the word perfect, because like, it's imperfections that make things perfect, right?
Well, also the pursuit of happiness is futile because you can't chase happiness. Happiness is a byproduct of the experience of even doing the work. Like, that's what you don't realize. It's not like, look, I'm not going to say I made it to the top, but I've had moderate success, and I had the house on top of the hill in Hollywood, and I've had the 2 cars in the driveway, and I had the fame and the money, and I got to the top, and I realized the view isn't as good as you think it is. What's fun is getting there, and that's the happiness, is the struggle, and the failures make you better. You can't always win. Like, you got to eat the humble pie, and it's peaks and valleys, and you got to be able to take the lows because they're coming. You can't. It's not always going to be up here. So the lows is like, it's like a fighter. Like, when an MMA fighter loses a fight, they say that's when they learn the most. When a comic bombs, that's when they learn. They can't kill it every night. So you need to be able to handle the lows. And I've had extreme highs and lows. I mean, I'm talking like, dude, like the lead in studio films to I can't get an agent in 2 years. Like, boom, boom. And it's humbling as a motherfucker, and you can't help but have it affect you. I'm a sensitive person. Like, that shit can hurt your feelings. So you just gotta deal with that shit and believe in yourself. So it's like you versus you all the time. That's why I tell people like, man, look, I don't want to be a dream crusher, but you really want to give up what you got and come here. You're not going to be happy, dude.
For those of you who can't see Simon, he's tearing up right now.
But yeah.
Scariest thing, if you really want to like put me at the most vulnerable and pretty much crappiest state in the world, you'd have me in an audition room. There's nothing I hate more than the experience of auditioning for 3-4 people in a small room.
It's the hardest part of the whole game.
Simon, I've done it 4 times, and they're still, to date, the worst experiences of my life. Everyone.
You're not alone. First of all, that is the worst part because you're just going in there and you have nothing to work with except someone that's reading the lines like half-heartedly, and you're just having everyone look at you and they're like analyzing everything. I've gone to callbacks where you go to an audition and you go to the second callback, third callback, fourth callback, fifth callback.
And then you don't get it.
And then you go in and you're like, oh my God, I'm in the fifth callback. And like, yeah, it's down to you and like one other guy. And you're like, oh my God. I've gone into auditions where they're like, Simon, can you turn your face 50%? And I like turn my head and they're like, the producers are coming up and like analyzing my profile and like looking at me like I'm like an object. And they're like, yeah, no. And they're like, and they're saying in front of me like, not sure he's the guy. We need to do a chemistry read with him and the girl. So we bring the girl in and they see if me and the girl have chemistry. So here's another human being. See if you have chemistry. And you're just like, dude, this is the most unnatural fucking thing ever. But then when you're on set and you get the job and you're in the environment, you're in the wardrobe, you're with the actor, then it's easy.
Yeah.
The audition is the hardest fucking part.
I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy.
Worst.
But it's a muscle. Some people are strangely incredible at it.
Dude.
They understand how to do it. They know how to expose the best parts of their talent in those 5, 10, 15 minutes in that room. I can't. I can't, unless you give me a piano or a guitar, I don't know how to convince you that I'm good. And you have nothing. You can't sit there and be like, no, wait, but I've done this and I'm good at this. So let me try it like this. You have zero control. God bless my girlfriend, Maya Mitchell, who's been on hundreds of auditions, and some have gone great and some have gone terrible, but she now has developed a skill, a muscle. It's a muscle, right?
It is a muscle.
And I don't have that muscle.
Yeah, I mean, you could get it.
I don't want it.
Yeah, that's the thing. You see, you've been your own boss for so long, you haven't had to do it, but if you're going to want to do a big movie one day, you're probably going to have to go through that if you don't write the movie yourself and produce it. You know what I mean? Like you might get called in, but that's a whole nother game, dude.
I mean, you're in a room. Imagine you're in a room with 3 people who are staring at you, and no matter what you do, these next 10 minutes define who you are.
Yeah. Dude, trust me, it's the moment of truth. It's like the same thing as a fighter going into the pit. It's like everything you've done has led up to this like 3-minute round. What are you going to do?
And it's not like an SNL audition where you get to prepare your own material.
Right.
You have to read words on a paper that might suck.
I've had some atrocious, dude, it's honestly the worst. And you walk out of there sometimes like, you're like, I got this. And you're going in and then you just feel the sweat drip down and then you're like, oh no.
And then everyone looks at the sweat.
And then you start to just unravel. I mean, dude, that is.
I'm like, thanks so much.
That's the worst. Yeah, and exactly. They're like, thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Like, no, you won't. That sucked. And another thing I learned is sometimes when I leave an audition, I'm like, I bombed that one. That's when I book it. And when I'm like, I nailed that one, they're like, that was awful. Yeah. So you never know. A lot of times too, what I learned, it's like when you walk in the room, you're either the guy or you're not. You could do an amazing read, but when you walk in, you're either the essence of that character and you are right for it. Like I remember I walked in for an audition once for this TV show and I did horrible. And they're like, you're the guy, you got it. And they told me in the room, like, you're the guy.
Sometimes they get it.
You're just the guy or you're not. So a lot of times you just got to be prepared.
Has it ever come down to you and one other person who you like or respect? And it was
it was me and Ryan Reynolds for Scary Movie 3.
No way.
I went in for Scary Movie 3 and I was on my 4th, 5th, 6th callback. And finally my agent calls me and he's like, yeah, it's between you and Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, well, at least I made it this far. You know, that was cool. I ain't going to beat Ryan Reynolds. And then they told me I got the job because I had the ability to rap because I played Eminem. So they were like, oh, you edged him out because you had that little rapper element that he didn't have. He couldn't do the rap scene that well or something like that. He's obviously a much bigger name and a talented guy, but he just wasn't the essence of the Eminem guy. I was more of that dude, which is just like I was talking about.
It's really cool that they kept that integrity. I mean, that's why Scary Movie 3 is what it is.
And that's why my career's in the toilet. I'm doing a podcast now. Anyway, but seriously, dude, that was a trip. I remember thinking like at that point when they told me that, I'm like, why did you tell me it's just me and Ryan Reynolds? Like, I ain't gonna book this.
Did you ever like face him?
No, I didn't.
You were never in the same room?
I never saw him in the room. I remember my agent just telling me that. And I'm like, next time, just don't tell me when it's someone like that because it's just going to intimidate me. But yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's a crappy process.
It's a motherfucker. What else? So what do you...
I asked you this before and we wanted to hold off. I just turned 27 today.
Right, happy birthday.
Thanks, Brew.
Brew?
Yeah, weird, right?
Juju.
You know, BRUH?
Bruh?
So
I'm not a bruh guy.
Most
I don't
people,
like
most
bruh.
people say bruh, and then Johnny, who you know,
Right.
thought that was brew for the longest time.
Oh, because it's spelled BRUH.
Yeah, and I actually like it better.
Brew.
So I
What's
say
up,
brew to people, and
Okay.
they always have that
All right,
reaction. I
now
was like,
everyone's watching. This is gonna start saying brew.
yeah, what up, brew?
It's like combination of bro and boo. Like, hey, boo.
Yeah,
Brew.
yeah. Let's just stick to
Okay,
juice.
all right.
So when I was like, hey, I don't feel any different. It's 27, not a huge difference in 26 and 27. And I asked Simon this question: at what age did you actually feel like you were getting older?
I think it was around 35 because I remember I sat down in my car, and I sat down and I made this noise. And I go, oh, dude, am I really doing the grunt when I sit
that
down?
your parents would
oh
do.
Oh my God. I'm like, that's it. This is it. This is the moment that you go over the hill. And then I did some homework and I found out that around 35 is when your cells stop reproducing as fast. And that's when they say over the hill. And I've noticed a dramatic decrease since then. Like I got to work way harder at staying in shape. You get sore
you're in
easier.
incredible shape.
I feel pretty good from being 44 and a half years old, but, I definitely am
It is pretty-
humbled.
it's crazy that you're
dude,
44.
I don't feel it. I feel like a little kid still, but it's just definitely humbling. Yeah, at 35 years old is when I noticed that I was eating the humble pie, and it was like the gray hair started coming in. You just get a little humbled, you know what I mean? So it's coming, Jude. You still got a few years. Enjoy it.
Yeah, but I feel like you're getting better looking with age.
I feel like I want to hug you right now. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, well, luckily we're dudes. You know, we age like fine wine. You know what I mean? Like the girls like a little salt and pepper. They're like, oh, he's so mysterious and old.
Yeah,
You know, he's like an old book.
They either like it or they hate it.
He's like old. Exactly. He's like an old dusty book. You know, let's dust him off.
You know, like when you're for me, it was my father, but one of your relatives like get up from the chair and it like takes like 20 seconds, then just be like, and they get up. I'm like, man, I remember as a kid thinking, I was like, it's not that hard to get up, but as you get older, it gets harder to get up.
It's also harder to get it up. So my friend's a comedian, Jordan Rubin. He says a joke where he's like, you know, you're getting old when you sit down and you make two noises. It's like, woo. Like you gotta like let out the pose. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good joke. Shout
Getting
out
old
to
is kind
Jordan
of cool
Rubin.
though. It's
What's
fun.
that?
Getting old is interesting. You
Well,
learn more, you get smarter.
You know what it is? Oh, you know, I have an interesting, I heard something a long time ago. It's like the older I get, the less I know. And I didn't understand what that meant. But then I kind of get it lately because the older I get, I realize I don't know shit. And there's like a certain humility to realizing, because I remember when I was like your age in my 20s, early 30s, I'm like, I got this figured out, man. And then you get older, you're like, wait, I don't know shit. So it's an interesting parallel there.
Yeah. Well, I feel
a
like
humbling-
when you're on that rise, when you're in your early 20s or even earlier, it's like, I think I know everything,
Right.
but you actually don't. And then you become a humble old man or woman and you're like, man, I don't know anything, but you actually do.
Right. You do.
You know what I mean? Your wisdom is there. You might not know what the hottest game is or the biggest new artist is, but you have wisdom that can't be bought.
You know, every year I look at the Coachella lineup. I know I'm getting older because I'm like, I don't know. Every year it gets more and more like, I don't know any of these bands. Every year I look at it, I'm like, okay, it's increasingly. So like this year I go up, I'm like, I can name two bands.
Yeah.
So that's how you know you're getting older and you're out of the loop and you don't know what's going on. I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck is Squiggy Magoo and the Dantes?
Oh, you don't like them?
No,
They're number 3 on the charts.
so that's another thing. And another thing is
the question is, do you want to know?
No, I don't care. That's another thing. Here's a weird thing also that happens when you get older. For me, I didn't give a fuck. Genuinely did not give a fuck about anything. About hurting a woman's feelings after hooking up with her and not calling her back. About walking into an audition and being like, I don't give a fuck if I book it or not. I didn't give a fuck. And that is a very good thing for creativity and for like booking jobs. Now that I'm older, I have the dreaded conscience, which is like the enemy of creativity and like because now when I walk into an audition, I'm like, I do care. I want to book this and kill it. And then you're in your fucking head. Or, you know, you
got to find the balance between the two.
That's
right?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm going through lately that I never had before. I'm like, fuck, man, what is this part of my brain that cares?
Yeah.
Like I was never like that. And I just cruised on
You
not
built a
giving
brand.
fuck.
Dirt Nasty is a brand that thrives on not
I
caring.
created a monster and now
Yeah.
I'm performing as this monster I created, which I love because it's such a blessing. I go on the road and I get to make people smile all over and do comedy rap and it's fun. But
What do you call? You got Dirt Nasty.
Right.
What do you call this new kid-friendly monster?
okay, so I'm working on a children's album just to go 180 on everyone, and it's called Squeaky Clean as opposed to Dirt Nasty. It's the antithesis of Dirt Nasty. That's the name I got right now. I might change it, who knows? But basically, I wanted to just do something completely different and do like the sweetest, nicest, moral compass kids album.
And I heard a couple
ever.
of the demos. They're really good.
Well, you're gonna help me with it, and I got Benji Hughes helping me. I got a couple people because I'm not really that musically like I don't know how to play piano or play guitar.
But you make great beats.
Thanks, man. I got the drums down and I know how to write melodies, but I need someone like you to come lay the keys. So you'll help me with it, I hope.
So I heard a couple of these songs, and they're songs made for kids, and they're simple and they're catchy and they're really positive and they're inspiring. I mean, you have songs about saving the planet. You have songs about staying in school, putting your phone down.
Yeah.
Is it okay that I'm saying this?
Yeah, it's okay.
Someone will steal it and you won't get it made.
To that. Because I know at the end of the day, if someone else puts out something similar, I know that mine's going to be mine either way. But it's to me, it was just like, what could I do that's totally different? Because when I sit down to write a Dirt Nasty song now, I'm just like, I'm not feeling it, man. I don't want to talk about like I've talked about all the dirty shit that I could possibly do. Like, what could I do different? I'm like, oh, that's it. I'm going to make a children's album and no one's going to expect that. And it's going to be so sweet and nice that you can't hate on it. What are you going to be like, that sucks? It's like, yeah, it's for a 6-year-old. Fuck off. Like, I literally want all my friends to play it for their kids. And I was like with my friend out in the desert the other day and he has this beautiful 2-year-old daughter. So I started playing all the songs for her and I can tell because kids are so honest which ones were good because she'd start dancing to it and smiling. And then I play another one and she just wouldn't react. I'm like, okay.
Kids don't lie, man.
They don't lie. That's what's so great is I want the goal of the album is to have parents be able to smile and nod their head to it on the way to school and their kids to learn something in the back seat. That's the goal.
How crazy is it that an infant who may not have ever been taught or understands dancing, that they immediately, they naturally can start bopping their body.
It's like a tribal human thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It dates back to, caveman, cavewoman hunting,
and it's
right?
that 120.
Heartbeat.
It's that 120 beat per minute. That's like disco, house, all that shit is kind of that universal. Like anytime you go buy a keyboard or a drum synthesizer or drum machine at like a Guitar Center or something, it's always set at 120 BPM because that's the factory setting. That's the world beat right there.
Is it something to do with the heartbeat?
I think it is.
It's double the heartbeat.
I think it has something to do with the heartbeat. That's exactly.
I wish
right.
I knew what it was. It'd make this podcast way more interesting.
There is a formula for making. Like I'm friends with a couple. I'm not going to drop names, but I'm friends with a couple big music producers that made a lot of big hits, and they're like, there's a mathematical formula that they've cracked and figured out.
Totally.
And they're like, they've made millions of dollars off of mathematical, everything's math, first of all, especially music. And they figured out a way to make hit songs that everybody, the masses, move their head to that makes them a lot of fucking money. And they wouldn't tell me what the secret is, but there was a mathematical equation.
As a formula.
It's interesting.
Very interesting.
Right? And it wasn't 120 beats per minute either. It wasn't like house, it wasn't EDM 120. It was more like pop. Singing stuff.
I wonder if that's changing or if that's remained consistent.
I don't know, man. It's interesting because what's a hit? Like so there's this machine in Spain actually that you put the music into, and it has an algorithm that will tell you if the song's going to be a hit or not. Doesn't have any opinion. It's a machine, but it can tell you by the mathematical melodies in it if it's going to be a hit or not. So they put in the song by Outkast, Hey Ya. Hey Ya. Remember that song?
Of course.
So when that song first came out, it wasn't a hit on the radio because it was such a different like sound from the 50s almost. It was like boom, ka, boom,
yeah,
boom,
that
ka.
retro Outkast.
Right? So when they put the song in the machine said this is going to be the biggest hit of the year.
What?
Yeah, it said it had like a 98% number, some crazy high number.
What is this machine?
I'll tell you
about
it. I'll show you to you later. So they put the song in the machine and this is the biggest hit. But then it wasn't a hit on the radio. So they're like, wait a minute, the machine can't be wrong. It's everybody out there's ears aren't ready for this. It was almost similar to when dance hall came out in America in the early 2000s. It took a minute for America to be able to get that new drum rhythm. So it was the same thing with Outkast because they were playing it on hip hop stations. Everybody wasn't ready for it. So what they had to do was they would sandwich it in between 2 hit songs so people stayed tuned. And then eventually people were like, oh, this is dope. And it took a minute to switch everyone's opinion because it was undeniably a hit. But at first everyone's like, what is this? They didn't even know how to move their head to it,
Interesting. Evolution of music is interesting.
Exactly.
Right? It's cyclical. What worked 30 years ago comes back and works today.
Oh yeah, it's all same with fashion, everything. But with music, like right now, if you were to play like a Little Pump song 10 years ago, people would be like, "What is this?" But now it's a hit.
Totally,
it's interesting, and it moves faster and faster and faster. It changes faster and faster. I think,
especially today.
Today, like on your birthday today, or just in general?
Today is in the general sense.
So we're gonna go to dinner for your birthday.
Yeah, man.
What are we eating?
I don't know, man.
I love eating with you.
I love eating with you too because you love eating healthy, but you also, I have to give you credit where credit's due. You find the balance between eating healthy, but also trying things and experimenting and not being so locked into I'm going to only do this or only do that?
I'm an 80-20 guy. 80% healthy, really good. 20%, let's try some new crazy shit. I'm a big fan of that one. You got to live your life. You got to sometimes eat some fucking shitty food once in a while just to put a little poison in you. It's almost like when people are too in the bubble and like, you know, hand sanitizer, take your shoes off, you're a little too safe. You want to get a little bit of the poison.
What are you on right now? What's your current diet?
What drugs am I? What am I on? What am I on? Let's see. I am lately just been on the yoga. I've been doing the hot yoga. I'm literally a midlife crisis LA douchebag. I've been doing yoga. I've been doing, I literally sound, okay, I don't know if you remember that my song 1980. It's like my hit song in the beginning.
First time I heard it was in The Hangover.
Oh, no, that was the Lil Jon song. That wasn't that one, but
cool,
so,
yeah. So obviously I know you're
a big fan. No, in the beginning of the video for my song 1980, I'm like, hey man, no, I've been getting in tune with myself, getting in touch with mind, spirit, and body. And my boy goes, you sound like a little bitch. Kick that dirt nasty shit. I've become what I made fun of, which is I really do go to yoga. I do care about what I'm eating. I've become everything that I've mocked, and I love it. So I've been doing hot yoga. I've been eating a lot less red meat. I do a lot of like...
well, you tried vegetarian for a while.
I did vegetarian for 3 weeks, and then I had some fish. I just like to mix it up. I like to experiment and guinea pig with my own regalia just to see what feels good. And less red meat does feel good, but I love... Once in a while, you gotta have a steak, man. Once in a while, you gotta have a steak. I like having some good quality red meat.
Listen, I probably went over a year without eating any red meat. And then I just recently went to Argentina with my family.
That's where you eat red meat.
And
the asado?
It's all I ate.
Asado? Is that what it's called?
All I ate. Asado.
Oh my God. That's
all I ate.
That's
like
what I'm
twice a
saying.
day.
When you're there, you do that.
You have to.
You have to.
There's
you
certain
can't be like,
places,
no, I don't eat red meat. Come on, live life.
I mean, like we knew the farmer who was raising the cattle, and we ate the barbecue that night. And you know, no disrespect to anyone who doesn't believe in eating animals, but
whatever, to each their own.
To each their own. But that town is known for the asado, and I'm not gonna not eat asado.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta live life. Just like you're in Italy, you're not gonna eat pasta. Get the fuck out of it. I don't eat carbs. You're gonna eat some pasta, or you're a bitch.
Crazy part is every time I go to Italy and visit my family there and eat 7-course meals every single day, I lose weight.
Because you know why? Because they don't put all that shit in the food there.
That's what it is.
All the preservatives and all. It's crazy, man. America, we're just so mass-produced bulk. Fucking, it's a trip, man. That's the same thing. I'll go overseas and travel, and I'll just eat all day, and I'm like, I'm better. I feel and look better. It's crazy.
What is it, man? What is that?
I think it's the shit that we put in our food, the preservatives and the
GMOs. Who knows?
Yeah, all that bad shit.
Can't win, so you might as well do your best.
Yeah, America's the best and the worst. You see yourself staying in LA? This is where you got to be.
Yeah, but you know what? I love to float. I'm like you.
Yeah,
I'm here after a few months. I got to go somewhere, and it's usually New York.
Right.
Or my family is Jersey.
Good. You got your family right there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you love Bali. You've been more in
going
Bali.
back in a few days.
Tell me about Bali.
The most, dude, you know what? It's hard to explain. It's like, how do you explain an experience? It's the most magical place on the earth. I really, truly believe that everything's vibrations. This sounds very woo-woo hippie, but I think everything's vibrations and energy, right? When you go there, there's an energy there that is just like, that's a different level than the energy in Los Angeles. They're on an elevated plane of consciousness and love and whatever's going on there, it's contagious. And you walk around, you feel this, it's almost like if everything was a guitar note or a key note, there's different notes and melodies. And the note there, it tunes in and you just feel a vibration that's absolutely hard. There's no explaining it. You just gotta go.
You are getting old.
I'm getting old.
I'm gonna give you a little beat right now and just give me a little freestyle on getting old.
Okay.
2, 3, 4.
I'm getting really old and crazy. I used to sing 1980. I used to date all the pretty babies, but nowadays I just want to vacate in Haiti. And I want to donate to the children. I just want to hang out in your lobby of your building. I just want to be chilling because I am always able and willing to do charity work and help other people out.
That's a hit to me.
It sounded
Put that in the machine.
Yeah,
it says 5% chance.
She says it's negative 5%. Oh my God, I could talk to you all day, Juji. What time? I don't see the clock going up here. What time are we at, guys? There's usually the timer, so I have a gauge.
Everyone is quit.
Are we at about everyone's? Oh, they're hanging. What does it say? Oh, we're at 1:20. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up. That's perfect, Juji.
We've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes.
See how time
it
flies
has
when you're having fun?
It's felt like an hour and 19.
Oh, it's 1:20 p.m. Oh, so it's been about an hour. What is it? Anyway.
We're not good at this, huh?
No, I'm new. This is the thing. It's like you guys are going to have to be riding with me on this wave of me learning how to do this podcast, but that's part of the charm and the experience. And don't worry, it's only going to get worse.
You go to your live stream.
Yeah.
You lost all your
The phone just explodes. But I feel like we got it handled. I love you, Juji. Thank you for
too.
your time.
It's been
I'm going
very
to see
fun.
you tonight for your birthday.
Yeah.
And not that anybody, the whole world already follows you at Rudy Mancuso on everything. What is Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
I think so. At Rudy Mancuso. I'm easy.
You know you're getting old when I was about to say, do you do the Facebook? Like, how old am I? Do you do the Facebook? Rudy Mancuso.
Yeah.
Everything's Rudy Mancuso.
MySpace, everything.
Love you. Oh, MySpace?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, good. I love you, baby.
Love you, bro.
All right.